So we're about 24 hours, maybe a little more than that, away from the whole Commander unbanning fiasco, I would say, yesterday, when there was a lot of speculation going around about what was going to be unbanned, because we had the first time that the unbanning was happening with the new format recently. And yeah, I'm actually going to... It was funny because I had to package some orders, and I figured, you know what? I'm going to kill two birds with one stone, so I'm going to package my orders while I have this conversation. And I kind of want to give my 2 cents on really the whole thing and the speculation and basically what everyone's thoughts are about it, and basically how I feel about the entire Commander, I would say the format in general. But the whole speculation, the biggest speculation, obviously, with yesterday was what's going to be unbanned. It's going to be Jewel Lotus. It's going to be Mana Crypt because that's what everyone wanted to be wanted to be unbanned. And the reality was that there was really no evidence to support the fact that they were going to be unbanned. Do I think that Jewel Lotus and Mana Crypt should be unbanned? For example, those two cards, 100%, absolutely. I think they should be unbanned for sure. The fact that they weren't, there was a lot of speculators and people buying cards and trying to buy them at the low so they can get them cheap, throw them back in their decks, and or maybe just flip them and make a few bucks on them. Either way, it's fine. However you want to play the game, totally cool with me. I took a little bit of time and I was looking through the ban list, the current ban list, the new ban list, and the game changers list, which I think is absolutely ridiculous. And when you actually look through the ban list and the game changers list, I'm actually going to kind of just look at all that as one big category, which some people may not agree with, but they're cards that are, for one reason, you can't play them, or they are limited in certain decks. Because if you're going by this new bracket system, whereas at the first two brackets, you can't actually use game changer cards. So in a sense, if you're trying to play that casual level of Magic, they're kind of banned too. They're basically on that ban list, which ironically enough, there's a bunch of cards that were made for Commander decks or for Commander sets that you can't play if you're playing a casual game of Commander. So I was looking through this list, and what really got to me was, are there some cards that are oppressive and mean and straight up shitty and make a game terrible? Absolutely, 100%. Although, are there a bunch of cards that are just over expensive and that only some people can afford and not everyone can get them? And or do some of them just not make sense whatsoever? Absolutely, 100%. Let's give a little spoiler alert first of all, as my whole overlooking opinion on the ban list, game changers, and everything. Here's my spoiler for the entire video for anyone that's curious. I think there should be no ban list. I think there should be no game changers. I think you should be able to play the cards you want to play. Why would I say that? Well, Commander was formed a bunch of years ago during a time where I wasn't playing. I was during a long break for Magic, but it was a format made so that you can play the cards you want to play. And me, as a deck builder now, I build decks now, Commander decks, the way I want to play Magic. Simply enough. I don't build them to win. I barely put any win cons in there. That's just the way I personally play the game. I play it for fun, to have a good, fun game, an interesting game. And yeah, sometimes the fun, interesting game has some wild shit happen. And that's actually a good thing because it makes memories, it makes stories, and it's a cool thing to talk about later on. Going back to, let's say, the Jewel Lotus thing, like a card that was the face of Commander of a set for a while, and it still is, to be honest with you, and they banned it. I get it, things change and all that, but the reality is that as time moves on, the power level actually just moves farther and faster. And for us to ban cards because things are going too fast, well, then Wizards stop printing power creeps and all that, and so making cards more powerful. It doesn't make sense for all of it. Looking through, again, let's look at the ban list and the game changers list together, because I'm going to call it one group, because again, if you're trying to play casual Magic, you can't play game changers, so they are essentially banned in those decks. I see a lot of tutors. Okay, there is a shit load of tutors in this list. Let me just really quick go through this list to find a few of them. There's Vampiric Tutor, there's Imperial Seal, Gamble, there's a bunch of them. Intuition, Gifts Ungiven now is unbanned. We know that one. There's so many more. I got the list here, but I'm not going to look through every one. But if you look through, there are a bunch of tutors. Now, is a tutor a bannable game changer? In my opinion, absolutely not. All that card is doing is allowing you to find the card that actually changes the game. And that is completely arbitrary to the situation, to the game, to what you're playing and how you're playing it and exactly what's going on in that specific situation. You're tutoring for that card that will change the game. Now, some people might argue that that makes the tutor the game changer itself. I strongly disagree. That just allows you to find the thing that changes the game. I mean, we can split hairs here and talk about that either way, but I don't think that a tutor changes anything. I think that a tutor makes the game less fun. I will say that. And I don't think it ruins the game, though, because again, I think that if you're bringing tutors in the deck, you're trying to win. And if you're trying to win, then it's very simple. You shouldn't be playing casual EDH. You should be playing CDH. And so I think that's the way we're going to be going soon. I have a feeling that down the road, we're going to be basically split into like two factions, which we kind of are, CDH and casual. And CDH, you're trying to win. There's no disguise of what you're trying to do. There's no rule zero conversation. It's just whoever can win first, pretty much go infinite, right away and win the game, and you're done right there. Casual, you're trying to have a fun game. It's probably going to be longer. You're going to let people survive longer than you normally would in a game because you're trying to let everyone have a good time. And in both scenarios, I think that you should be letting everyone play all the cards they want to play. If I'm playing a game and someone wants to play Shahrazad, God damn it, let's play Shahrazad. Let's play that game out. Do I think it's going to be the best game I ever played? I don't know. Never had it happen because they never allowed it. Does it make for a longer game? Absolutely. But guess what? That's the rule zero conversation that every non-CDH game has to have. If you have a regular play group and you're playing with like your regular group of four, let's just say you have a group of four, it's just four people that always play together. You generally know how everybody plays, what their decks do, and you get a feel for what everyone wants to do in their games. You know how their commanders work, and you get used to certain decks. So that not much of a conversation usually has to happen there. But if let's say you're playing at an LGS, you're playing with 3 new people and no one knows each other and you're having a brand new experience, that is a rule zero conversation 100%, because you all have to decide what kind of game that you want to play. And some people might say, I've only got 30 minutes, so let's play a quick game. Everyone goes, no problem. Everyone get your best decks out. Let's play a quick game. And I've been in situations like that a million times, especially with friends on Spell Table. Hey, I've only got 20 minutes. Let's rip a fast one really quick. No problem. Everyone gets their fast stuff. You have a quick game and you move on. So in a situation where everyone wants to play a quick game, what's the problem with Mana Crypt? What's the problem with Jeweled Lotus? What's the problem with, let me look at the ban list here. What's wrong with Emrakul, for God's sakes? Yeah, Rathalos, all these things. I mean, Tolarian Academy, it makes a bunch of mana. Who gives a shit? I mean, Gaia's Cradle is arguably just as powerful. I know it's not. I know Tolarian Academy can be a lot more powerful artifacts. I understand that. But there's cards that are similarly as powerful. I don't think that one card's going to make a difference. The one card I think that was probably the most unfun card in the entire ban list is definitely Karakas. That one obviously just sucks, but that is a simple rule zero conversation. If you want to have a CDH game and people want to play oppressive and mean and do land hate and just whatever, and you say, I'm throwing Karakas on my deck so I can keep bouncing their commander. If that's the way everyone agrees to play, then what's wrong with that? The next part of what I want to talk about is basically my thought on why some of the cards are banned. And I think some of the cards are simply banned because of cost. And I do understand that. I understand the thought process going into it, because if somebody has an unlimited amount of money and they can put Black Lotuses and Moxen and all this stuff in their deck, then they're going to have a bigger advantage. Sure. I mean, they might have an advantage, absolutely, if they can get faster mana. It doesn't mean they're going to win the game, though, because maybe they're not as good of a deck builder. Maybe they're not as good at analyzing the situations and seeing what the threats are and things like that. So I think that's, again, a different play group also. If you're going into a play group and it's new people and let's say there was no ban list, you got Black Lotus and all the 5 Moxen and all the Power 9 in your deck, then you're probably going to have that rule zero conversation. Let people know. They're probably going to say, I don't want to play against that deck. And you're going to say, no problem. That's a rule zero conversation. And that's the biggest thing, is to have that rule zero conversation, to know what kind of game you want to play. So I think that the ban lists and the game changer list altogether, I think it's all a complete waste of time. I think they should really just undo everything, see what happens, and play it out from there. Sorry, I'm actually packaging this and trying to remember these names as I'm doing this. But it's all about having that conversation, and the conversation dictates the kind of game you have. There's rarely a game, even when I'm playing in a casual game, it's like, oh, what are we playing here? It's like, if you have two people playing the same kind of deck, like for example, 2 people playing like zombie decks, I'm playing, 2 people have 2 zombie tribal decks. One of them is probably gonna be like, oh, you know what? Let me switch it up. That's actually a rule zero conversation. So you want to make sure it's kind of like a fun game. If someone is playing something super oppressive against a certain archetype, and someone's playing that archetype, they're gonna be like, well, I'm not gonna play that deck, because that's gonna be a really shitty time. So again, it's all these things that you have to talk about. What was the last thing I was going to talk about here? There was one other thing. of course, I'm just gonna leave my mind as I say it, but the things that were unbanned: Braids, Cabal Minion. I mean, who cares really? Coalition Victory. Again, if you get that much mana and you get that much stuff on the board, congratulations, get the win. Who gives a shit? Gifts Ungiven. Okay, you can do for 4 things. I mean, it's pretty oppressive. I won't lie about that, but it's Panoptic Mirror, sure, but there's enough artifact removal. I get that. That's fine. Sway the Stars, whatever. I don't really care about that. Again, high mana cost card. There was some talk I was reading through the article about, obviously they talked about Jewel Lotus, and if anything, that might be the one that's banned, like unbanned next. Because it's like, it's a one-time use. You use it, you get your command out early, and then, you can kind of move forward ahead. But then again, you're the target, so that's just kind of how it goes. And they said they weren't going to do any more unbannings this year, which is fine. But I think that you can't make a card for a format. Again, you're talking like the Fierce Guardianships of the world and like the Deflecting Swats and all these cards that are made for Commander. When they say, when they reference your commander on a card, I think those cards should never have been made, personally. That's my personal opinion. But they are made, so we have to deal with them the way that they are. But again, I think it's all about having a Rule Zero conversation and understanding that what kind of game do you want to play. And if you were to remove all the cards from all ban lists and all game changers and just let people do whatever they wanted, I think that would actually make for a much more fun environment too. And it would be a lot less people being upset, because how many people went out and bought like Mana Crypts for $200 when they were $200 for a deck? And then like, I guarantee there were some people like the next day they bought it. It probably hadn't even shipped out yet, and it got banned, and then they were just really pissed off, quit the game, or whatever. But they definitely did not have a good time, not a good experience with that. So I think they have to be really careful with the way they do things. And I don't think that Wizards of the Coast or anybody should police the players, because this is a kitchen table format. And again, going back to what I was saying originally, was Commander's a format that was created for people to play the cards they want to play. And again, I said it like a lot of decks I build, they're not. I think every play group kind of goes through what I call these phases, and I know our play group did years ago, and I know I was part of it. But everyone starts learning how to play, right? So you got a play group, and let's say you're new, you're learning how to play, you're figuring out how Commander works, and so you have these janky decks, right? Then someone figures out there's this card called like Cyclonic Rift, or they find out about a mana drain where you can counter things but get all the mana, and all of a sudden they're going to throw these cards in their deck, and they're slowly going to creep up the power level of their decks. Well, guess what? The person to your left and right, they're going to start doing the same thing too. Next thing, what happens with your play group is you have a group that the power level starts creeping. It starts creeping fast. Then what happens? Then you're like borderline playing CDH, and everyone knows that's what's going on. But then what happens after that? Everyone gets tired of doing that, and you actually just want to play the fun stuff. And I think that's where I know where I am now, is I'd rather much play a fun game. I could care less if I win or lose a game of Commander. That's when I really have the most fun with it. I could give a shit whether I win or lose. It's just when I'm having a good time. Am I playing the cards that I want to play? And that's the best part. Which leads me to kind of like my final point for my thoughts on this overall, is that you don't have to listen to this ban list. That's the biggest point I think that everyone is forgetting, is that this is a ban list created by the company, right? But I would be willing to bet like 99% of people that play Commander, for example, play kitchen table Magic with their buddies. They play LGSs, they play with their friends at home, or they play on Spell Table. And there's definitely not a lot of tournaments going on. So that's a beautiful card right there. Big Kid, that was a good pull to this morning. And if they're dictating a ban list or a game changers list for the overall format, which most of it is done in households with Rule Zeros, then it really means nothing to you. And so I think that's an important conversation to have with your play group. If you have a play group that's like totally chill and just wants to have fun, like I know my play group, that when we get together, which is tough because we have a lot of responsibilities in life and all that, but when we get together, I guarantee if we say to each other, hey, let's play let's build a deck with no ban lists, no rules, go as hard as you want, play the Shahrazad's, play a proxy of, the Moxen if you want to. Everyone would say, fuck yeah, let's do it, because it's going to be a really good time. And actually, years ago, I still have it somewhere, but our group decided to make OG Elder Dragon Highlander, Elder Dragon decks. And so we all picked an Elder Dragon randomly. And then whatever colors we had to build a deck. I think we chose the Alpha, Beta, Unlimited, the 4 Horsemen sets. So you had to build a Commander deck with that, that Commander. Mine was Chromium, I think I got. And we had to build a deck of just Alpha, Beta, Unlimited, 4 Horsemen, Commander decks. No ban list, no nothing, just have fun. Still one, singleton format. It was hard to make a cohesive Commander deck that actually like did something, but it was a lot of fun playing the old cards. And obviously we used proxies because it would have been crazy expensive. But we had a really good time with that, and it was cool building them and that feeling. It's funny because we never actually, I think I played it like twice, but not with that group. I played it like a fun way on Spell Table. But the point is that you don't have to listen to what this committee tells you that you have to do. No one is dictating how you play a card game in your kitchen table, on your spell table with your buddies, or at your LGS when they're not policing you. They don't give a shit how you play the game. So you don't have to listen to them. If they ban if they turn, let's see, here's a good example. They turned all these tutors into Demonic Tutor is on the game changers list, for example. That doesn't mean jack shit. It really doesn't. If you're not playing tournament play, if you're playing fun kitchen table match, that is a rule zero conversation, 100%, and it means absolutely nothing. And I think everyone really forgets that. People hear these cards getting banned or unbanned, they think like that's law. It's like it's the rule. It's the rules. Don't break them, and God forbid you do. They'll kick you out of playing Magic. It's only for tournament play and it doesn't matter anywhere else. Again, if you have a cool play group and they're open to having fun games, have that conversation and just play the way you want to play. Like I said, I build decks now that I want to play just because it's like, it looks fun. They're janky as shit, but they're fun to play. They do some weird stuff and they're not out there to win. And I think once you understand that you can just have a lot more fun not trying to win and you're not going to care when you lose, that's the point of it. The point is to have fun. Now, sure, we all want to win, but like when you actually, if you get pissed off that you lose, that's a whole different thing. But you really shouldn't be. Then I think you need to, calm down and realize that it's not that serious, and you need to figure out why you're playing Magic in the first place is to gather with your friends, have some laughs, and have a good time. So yeah, take some time to really think about what your playgroup wants out of it and how to do it your way. Don't think that just because some committee of all these random people make these rules that literally do not affect you or anything you do matters. Listen, if they ban Mana Crypt and it's $50 and your playgroup doesn't give a shit, well, guess what? You just got a cheap Mana Crypt to add to your collection. You can play with it. Only pay $50 for it and you're good. All these cards that just got unbanned, you see like the Gifts Ungiven going to the goddamn moon. All the Jace spell books that now sold out because they carry them. Don't buy them. And I gotta be honest with you, all the people that have the Braids Cabal minions in their bulk box, which if you ever opened any Eternal Masters or what was it, Double Master or Modern Horizons 2 or Odyssey, you probably got 1,000 in your bulk box. Guess what? I would sell them to them as quick as you possibly could. Don't hold on to them. Don't wait because they will creep down. There are probably tens and tens and tens of thousands of copies of Braids Cabal minions sitting in bulk boxes all around the world. And guess what? Anyone who wants to cash in on them, that's just sitting there, that's just cardboard sitting in another cardboard box, I strongly suggest selling them as quickly as humanly possible. Will they maybe hang out like $5? Yeah, they might. They've already spiked though. Like they've already gone straight up. Like we're gonna hope that it goes up and doubles again. It's just not gonna happen. The supply is gone and the demand is there. List them, sell them, move on immediately. That's my opinion on those. I don't have any of those cards. I don't really carry bulk rares anymore. I got rid of that a long time ago. I don't really deal with singles. But again, more than anything, these are rules created by people sitting in an office somewhere. Yeah, I know they're players and all that. That's fine. But they do not dictate how you play the game. So play the game the way you want to. Have the conversation with your play group or whatever, or at your LGS. Again, if you play an LGS, you probably play with a lot of the same people all the time. Throw like a mass text out there like, hey, how do you guys want to handle this? And if no one cares about it, then don't care about it. Like I said, if I'm sure there's plenty of people that play kitchen table Magic, especially old school people that may have old Mox, and they probably say, fuck it, put a Mox Sapphire in your deck, put a Slayer Academy in your deck. Who cares? Have fun with it. I mean, it's your cards. If it's what you want to do to win the game, go for it. Again, I'm sure like a card like go back to like a Karakas or something like that. Like Karakas is in a commander format, that's a very oppressive card. I do agree with that. But again, that's a conversation. If your 4 people in the play group agree that everyone can carry it and run it, then run it, dude. See what happens. It might make for a shitty game or be frustrating. Then you realize, you know what? This really shouldn't be in our group. We're going to take it out. I believe there are some cards that probably should be banned, but honestly, it's a per group thing. So my firm, strong stance is to unban everything, have no game changers. I think this the bracket system I think is ridiculous. I'll be perfectly honest with you. I like the 1 through 10 thing, even though like 1, 2s, and 3s really doesn't mean anything. So 10 is probably too much. Again, everyone's always a 7. but it's always about having that conversation and being open and honest about what you're trying to play, and not about what you're trying to play, but like what kind of game do you want to play? What kind of experience do you want with a game, people? Because again, some people don't get to play Commander that often. I mean, I'll be honest with you, like I personally, I rarely get time anymore, and it sucks. I wish I could play a game every single day, but I just don't have the time. And so when I play a game, I want to play a fun game. I want to have an enjoyable time, people laughing, having good interactions, a little politicking. Maybe you let someone survive so they can join in because they're getting slaughtered early, but you don't want to have them sit there for an hour just bored when everyone else is playing. So you have that rule zero conversation, so you know how people want to experience the game and how they feel about it. But don't let other people dictate how you're playing the game if you're not playing tournament play, and it really doesn't matter. Hope that makes sense.